They've announced that the technical regulations are changing for next season. Now there's a risk a lot of our hard work could be undone if we're not careful, so let's figure out how to mitigate this. Drivers, take a look at the developments we have and let us know what you want to invest in protecting. Alright everyone, let's get on top of this.
What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here. We're back with the 15th round of Season 2 of the Career Mode today, here for the Singapore Grand Prix. And as you saw there, we've got some durability changes coming into next season. Well, it's meant to be regulation changes, but I've just given it away. It's the durability compartment that's being changed, and well, yeah, basically a non-essential thing for Carl to do, because the durability thing is just pointless. Nothing's going to change. It's easy to sort out, so that was just a bit pointless for Carl to come and make a big deal out of that. So yeah, it's a bit boring having a durability compartment as the only thing that's changing as well for next season. So yeah, thanks for that, Carl. That was brilliant. But yeah, there we go. We come into Singapore then off the back of a win in Italy. So yeah, we're in good form at the moment. Finished 6th here last season for Alfa Romeo. Hopefully today we can have a similar result, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult considering how the Toro Rosso is in the performance scale of things. We're currently 6th best though, but yeah, when we sort of struggle around these tracks, and other teams sort of pick up better results. So this is more of an AI track than it is a driver's track, for me at least. I mean, we're currently P19, so that says it already. Last time out, we've been almost getting pole position. We end up qualifying P4 in the end, but now we're down the other end of the grid. But we are improving on our time at least so far, so hopefully we can gain a few positions at least. But yeah, it just says it all really. We're looking to try and impress Red Bull, which I believe we have. We're the only Red Bull driver to have won all season, and Grosjean's didn't even score a point at Toro Rosso. Albon's just got 2. Gasly and Verstappen have not really been troubling the top step of the podium, really. I think Verstappen's got a few podiums, Gasly's just been nowhere, really. But yeah, that's pretty much how it's been in real life when Gasly was at Red Bull. But now we're coming around to Sector 2. We're up by quite a bit on our previous time, so hopefully this should get us up the order at least a bit. But well, we're down on Hamilton's time by over a second in Sector 2, so we're not going to be troubling the front row of the grid. We know that for a fact, but hopefully we will be able to, not be on row 10 at least, because we shouldn't be at the back with the Renaults and Hasses, the 2 backmarker teams at the moment. Well, the 2 teams that appear to be the backmarker teams as things stand, because Williams are sort of gotten themselves out of that shadow, and well, Toro Rosso is slowly starting to improve as well. Well, thanks to me, but yeah, we come around the last corner, and well, we crossed the line, and it's good enough for, well, yeah, P16. Not ideal, but anything can happen in the Singapore race. There's chances of safety car, but well, pre-patched there was no chances of safety car. We're still pre-patched, so yeah, no chances of safety car in the race probably. But well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. But we did out-qualify our teammate, so that probably says the Toro Rosso car isn't too strong around here. Although Albon isn't as strong as an AI as Weber, who's managed to put his car on the front row again. So we're heading into the race then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Hopefully we can have a good result here today. But well, we're up against it really, starting from P16. But anything can happen. There could be collisions. The AI don't really tend to have collisions on here because for some reason AI have gone backwards in the last few F1 games. I'm not really sure why that is. But they're honestly better in F1 2015 and 2016. You saw more incidents then. Now it's just a bit, well, it's just a bit lackluster. But anyway, the grid: Hamilton ahead of Weber on the front row, and then Verstappen up in P3 ahead of Danny Kvyat, who's done a hell of a job for Williams. Butler ahead of Gasly, ahead of both the Ferraris, who've started to go backwards as well. Russell ahead of Bottas, who's had a terrible qualifying. Perez ahead of Ricciardo. Lando Norris having another poor qualifying for some reason, ahead of Hulkenberg, Stroll. Myself, Giovinazzi, Albon, Magnussen and Sainz rounding off the grid. So there, well, let's see what we can do. We're against the man who replaced me on row 8. So Stroll having another poor qualifying for him, but we head for those 5 red lights, and now they're away. We're all away as well in the Singapore race of Season 2, and again it's a poor start as both the Renault and the Toro Rosso, my teammate, fly past me, and then we outbrake 3 cars into turn 1, make that another 2 into turn 2. So we gained 5 positions there just by being a little bit aggressive on the brakes, and up into P11 then. So we gained 5 positions then off the start, up from P16 to P11. Now we can see the points just ahead of us. Valtteri Bottas, who will be looking to gain positions as well. Exactly what he needs to do as well if you want to stay in championship contention, although I think it might be a little bit too little too late, unless Hamilton completely capitulates. But we dive down the inside of Valtteri Bottas, which will just further anger him. He'll be frustrated about that one. But now our next target is Charles Leclerc. We'll see if we can actually stay in the points, because our Toro Rosso, of course, isn't looking too strong around this track. So if we can stay in the points, that'll be a bonus. But we have to defend like crazy. But there's not too many overtaking opportunities, but we've managed to find one here. So we dive down the inside of Charles Leclerc, P9. So we've gained 7 positions so far, just the first lap of this race. Leclerc looking to try and perhaps take that position back straight away, but no, not being able to make the move into that corner then. And we're up into P9 then off the start of this race, and a good start to the race it is then. So P9, and now we're eyeing up the Williams of George Russell, who we'll be hoping to get some points today, because Williams will be delighted with that, because I think Russell's had a podium so far, but Williams starting to improve the car and get out of the doldrums. So Williams could be a dark horse in a few seasons to come. Maybe they'll start to improve as Hamilton leads the way then after lap 1, setting the fastest lap of course. But we will now look at a replay of our lap 1 and see where we made these positions. And you can see just at the start we're starting to lose positions almost immediately. Albon and I think it was Giovinazzi getting past us. We dived down the inside of Magnussen, and actually it was Hulkenberg I think, and Norris, and Stroll getting bogged down as well there. He lost the position to a Renault. So Stroll having a difficult day indeed, and we get past both the racing points of course as well there. Lando Norris as well. I don't understand why Lando Norris is having such a poor qualifying record this season. He just tends to be in the bottom half of the grid in qualifying quite a lot, and so does Verstappen actually, but Verstappen had a good qualifying today. It's just a bit peculiar to be honest, but I don't understand it. But we've headed past Valtteri Bottas here at least, up into P10, so we're up into the points at this point, and then we managed to get past Charles Leclerc just a moment later, because all these cars just concertina up on the first lap, and it's just easy to gain positions. And you can see that's probably why, is with Verstappen going wheel to wheel with Devon Butler there. As you can see, they're all slowing everyone up, even all the way back to P20. And then we come through here. You can see we dive down the inside of Charles Leclerc up for P9. And that's pretty much our highlights of lap 1. And it was a good lap 1 indeed. Actually managing to get past 7 cars on the first lap. And now moving on to lap 3. We're chasing George Russell now, so it could be an interesting fight for P8. And we dive down the inside again into turn 2, an opportunistic move, and we're making those opportunistic moves on this track because we tend to be lacking a bit of straight line speed on the DRS straight, so we had to make that move then. Up into P8 we go, so we've overtaken George Russell on lap 3, and again we gained 8 positions now since our starting position, but George Russell fighting back and he gets past us. We dive back down the inside of Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Russell and Leclerc tried to get past us as well, almost tried to gain 1 position, almost lost 2. So luckily for us, we again being a little bit late braking on those brakes, getting back past George Russell and keeping hold of P8 now for the time being, and engineer trying to talk to us here. But now P8, can we continue to push on, or is it going to be a defensive work for the rest of this race? But you see Pierre Gasly now is our next target, but he's a couple of seconds down the road, but we're trying to pull away now from George Russell, and so having a Williams behind us will actually help us really, I think, compared to having a Ferrari or a Mercedes behind us. So remember, Bottas is still behind us, so Bottas is going to be not enjoying this race so far. I'd imagine he's going to try and get past these guys in the window, I think, the pit stop window. But we're now starting to look towards Pierre Gasly and Danny Kvyat, I think it is. So if we can finish ahead of another Red Bull, that would probably make the Red Bull heads turn, perhaps thinking, hang on a minute, maybe we should swap these guys around. I don't know if it would actually swap these guys around, but we'll move on to lap 5 then. So we skipped the whole of lap 4. You see, we're sort of the similar gap towards Russell and Kvyat, but now they've sort of had a little battle into turn 1 and turn 2, and that's slowed them down an awful lot. So now we're looking to close in on these guys. So we've got DRS actually, so we gained 8/10 of a second, I think it was, just from a couple of corners. But getting DRS, we're still a long way behind, but Gasly now closed in on Danny Kvyat. He's going to go to the outside and try and make that move on the outside. They go side by side, and into the next corner it's going to be 2 into 1 almost. But ooh, yeah, it's a little bit close there. Now we're looking interested, almost thinking about making it three abreast going into that corner. But I thought a little bit better of it now, as Kvyat and Gasly still side by side continue in this battle. It's a good battle between these two guys. But it looks like Pierre Gasly's managed to get past Danny Kvyat now. So that's helped us out a lot, because now we've closed in on Danny Kvyat as we think about making a move down the inside of him. And well, yeah, we've lost a bit of front wing, making a move down the inside of Danny Kvyat. It's a bit annoying actually, because well, there was room for us there, but unfortunately we've just lost a bit of front wing. And I think we actually got a bit of front wing damage last season at this race. But yeah, that's a bit frustrating that happened. But we did make the move. We're still ahead of him now. We're up to P7, but we're going to be a little bit slowed down. Are we going to decide to make the front wing change, which would lose us a few seconds, or are we going to try and keep track position over these guys? That was just a bit annoying, because I think the F1 2019 AI loved to turn in on you, and that's exactly what Danny Kvyat did there. But he follows us into the pits anyway. We're not going to change the front wing, because well, we're just going to keep it how it is. It's just a bit dark green, sort of yellowish. So we're just going to lose a little bit of speed. So we're just going to probably going to be a defensive work for the rest of this race then, as we come in to fit those medium tyres. Hopefully we can keep that position in the pits, and we leave the pits now and we're still ahead of Danny Kvyat, so no harm done there. But that will be able to make the undercut on Pierre Gasly at all, who was just ahead of us at that point. But coming out of the pits then, we're into lap 6, P18 at the moment. So well, plenty of cars left to make the pit stop for Verstappen to come into the pits. We move on to the end of the lap. Now we move on to lap 7. A few more cars are coming into the pits, and we're up into P11. We can see on the left there, Charles Leclerc almost making the overcut on us, but we're not happy with that. We're not allowing that to happen. He actually does get ahead of Danny Kvyat by the looks of it, just about there. It almost looked like a repeat of the Hulkenberg Massa incident that happened a few years ago. But Gasly, well, he's still ahead of us by probably the same margin he was when we went into the pits, maybe a little bit bigger. But Leclerc fighting with Danny Kvyat behind us. So we've got a couple more cars left to pit, and we should be in a provisional P7 at this point, which is all we can hope for really at this point in the race, unless there's a safety car, which is obviously unlikely. Virtual safety car's not going to really help us out at this point, because we just lose positions pitting anyway, and wouldn't really gain anything from that. But Leclerc now is going to be probably chasing us for P9, which will turn into P7 when everyone else is pitted. So we're going to have to do a lot of defending towards the end of this race, which is going to be frustrating to say the least. But it's what we had to do since we've made that move on Danny Kvyat. Perhaps we wouldn't even have got past Gasly in the end as well. So maybe making that move is probably the best thing we could have done, despite losing a bit of front wing. Although I think Danny Kvyat's front wing's in fine condition, which says it all really. The AI front wings tend to be much stronger than the players' front wings, which is just annoying. But yeah, that is what it is. This game's still got a load of annoying things about it. I mean, if you got a combo of F1 2019, 2018, perhaps 2017, 16, and even 15, got a combo of all those games and put them all into one, it would be such a good game. But they just ruin things every now and then from season to season. Like, the AI is actually crashing into each other. That never even happens anymore. We never see any AI spinning. It's just boring train tracky AI, especially in the rain. It's just, I don't know why. Back in the old F1 games, the old last gen, the AI always used to spin when they were on dry tyres in the wet, but now they can just somehow drive like it's normal. It's just so frustrating, the AI on this game. It's just, oh, I don't know. I could have a rant, but no one's even watching my videos anyway. So anyway, no one's listening. But yeah, it just says it all really about this game. It's just such a frustrating game, despite being so good with the driver transfers and everything else. It's just got those annoying problems with the AI that just seems so boring and dull compared to how they used to be. But yeah, now we're doing defending from these AI, who, well, they still attack quite well, but just a bit boring in every other sense, because they're just too overpowered and just frustrating to deal with, especially when it's wet and you're sliding all over the place and you're just watching all these cars just drive like it's on a train track. It's just, come on, Cody, at least make it look realistic for once. I mean, you did it back on the old gen games where they were spin when it was just raining, and stuff like that on the way back to the pits. I mean, surely he could do something like that now on the next game. Just make them more realistic. I mean, how can a car drive back to the pits when it's pouring down with rain, pretty much heavy wet conditions, and it will not even have a moment of oversteer? I mean, come on, it's just having a little bit of a rant here during this career mode race. It's just so annoying, and they turn in on you as well. They don't even know how to race. They never even make collisions with other AI. You never see them spinning out on their own, spinning each other out. It's just so annoying. It's just there could be so much improved about the AI on this game. It's just, I really wish they could sort it out, but unfortunately they don't really tend to listen to fans too much, I don't think. Although we have managed to get driver transfers, which is ideal. That's probably the best thing about this game. I think it would just be pretty much a copy and paste of F1 2018, to be honest, mixed with a little bit of a different aero or different driving of the cars. But it pretty much is a copy and paste of 2018, added with the F2 as well, which is a bit gimmicky, to be honest. Now it's just got a few events. He added a couple of fake drivers as well, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, hopefully we get more on F1 2020. I mean, you get excited about these games when they come out. You think, oh, look, all these new features that come out, and then you realise after a while it's just a bit gimmicky. We're happy to have both F2 seasons on here. I mean, there should be the F2 at 2018 season really as well that you get, and it's good that we get the F2 2019 season as well, because that's the season. I mean, you get the F2 2018 season before the F1 2019 career mode. It's ideal. And then they've added the F2 2019 as well. It's good that they're keeping both of them in there, because that's how it should be, really. And the classic cars as well, they're decent, but we could do some classic tracks as well. More classic cars that aren't just Ferraris and McLarens, that would be ideal as well. If we get Lotuses, Benettons, a mixture of that, Brabhams, that would be perfect, really. But yeah, just a little bit of a rant about how frustrating this game can be at times. But here we go. We're currently having to defend quite heavily now from Charles Leclerc. We're on lap 11 of this race, having to defend from Leclerc. And there's a few cars behind us. Bottas is still behind us, and I think Danny Kvyat is behind us as well, who's given us that front wing problem, which has in turn frustrated us a lot. So there you go. We had to defend from these guys. We probably still have to be defended from them anyway, but perhaps not going as slowly, because I think Lando Norris is catching us up as well. He's down in the order still, but I think now he's starting to improve. But now we've got just 4 laps to go now after this lap is done. Try and defend from Charles Leclerc, who's all over us now. And now, here we go. Can he get past us on the straight? We run wide, and that's going to give him an open invite to get past us. He's alongside, and he's already ahead. But we're going to pull into the slipstream and dive back down the inside. And this time he gets front wing damage from us, driving back down the inside. We're not willing to give up that position. So Leclerc's got front wing damage there. You can see Lando Norris is just following us in the background. You can see Danny Kvyat is still ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas has still not managed to get past anyone there. But now we're still ahead of Leclerc. He's got DRS, but he's got a bit of front wing damage now, which has sort of in turn helped us out a little bit there. But he goes to the outside and isn't able to make the move this time. So haven't had too much of a problem until then, dealing with the Ferrari until now. But yeah, Leclerc's got front wing damage now, so he's going to be slowed down. So hopefully we can actually stay ahead of these guys now, and now not have to worry too much as we head towards the next few corners of this track. We're still understeering like mad, but maybe that's not so true. Maybe Leclerc will be able to get past us still, but actually not too much of a problem. We're actually slowly pulling away. Actually, you can see there's a bit of a gap between myself and Leclerc as we pull away now, almost like 9 tenths of a second. So yeah, we're pulling away a little bit from Leclerc here, and now just a few laps to go. We could potentially keep hold of this P7, which would continue our good start to our life at Toro Rosso, and just a few laps to go, just 3 laps to go then after this lap is completed, and then we can focus on the end of this race, and another 6 points then. But yeah, it could have been a little bit more perhaps if we didn't have that front wing damage. Maybe we would have got Gasly, but it's all ifs and buts now. But we're starting to pull away, and we just need to drive the car home in the last 3 laps of this race. We skip on to the last lap of the race now. We're in lap 15, and Danny Kvyat's now back up to P8. So Leclerc, with that front wing damage, has fallen back a little bit now. So we're not having to worry about that. We've got the last lap to ourselves, going to go around the next few corners, and hopefully now we can just end this race where we are. So P7, good result for us, and more points for Toro Rosso as well. So yeah, a good result. Yeah, well, there you go. Not having to worry too much about Kvyat. He's 2 seconds behind. Yeah, so we're just one more race before a contract negotiation. We're looking almost like we could be in a Red Bull seat, because Gasly's just ahead of us, but Verstappen had a much better race than Gasly has today. Again, Gasly's not got too many points either, so maybe we'll be getting drafted into that Red Bull after just 4 races in a Toro Rosso. Maybe we'll have to wait until the end of the season before we get put into a Red Bull. But, well, we'll have to wait and see what the Red Bull guys want. But at the moment, we're doing very well in this Toro Rosso. Head through the end of this race, just the last few corners then. 1.7 seconds to Danny Kvyat, so he's not going to trouble us in the last lap of this race. Hamilton's won again, so he takes another step towards that driver's title. I think Bottas won it last season, so Hamilton will be looking to take the title away from him this season, and anyone will be looking to take the title away from Mercedes next season. Hopefully we can do that. But yeah, they've just been dominating all season round, well, all career mode so far. Hopefully we'll have something to say about that next season if we can get a good drive. But we come around the final corner, and it's going to be P7 then, and a good end to this race despite starting P6. So 9 positions gained off of that race, and surely that's going to be a driver of the day for us. That's how they determine driver of the day on here. You can start P20 and finish P11 and still get driver of the day even if you're driving a Mercedes. It's a bit ridiculous, but there you go. Hamilton winning the race. I think Weber was probably second, and Verstappen getting the podium. So Verstappen doing alright there. Red Bull starting to improve perhaps a little bit. So yeah, there you go. We probably won't be replacing Verstappen, but knowing this game, we may end up replacing Verstappen. But there we go. It's that's the end of the race and the end of the episode as well. As we look at the standings, yeah, starting P16. Bottas will be saying goodbye to his championship hopes, I'd imagine, now after that. Weber is probably looking more likely to finish second than Bottas is at the moment. It's a bit interesting. I don't know how Weber's done such a good season. There we go. There you go. Yeah, Weber is actually a long way ahead of Bottas. Bottas, he should get dropped, really, in all honesty. But there, we are still in 7th, so we've managed to stay ahead of Williams despite them having a good result. Actually, I don't know if they did, because I think Russell dropped out. So yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing race for Williams in the end. So yeah, Kvyat did well though. He's moved that back ahead of Stroll, who's had another bad race. But that's going to be the end of the episode there, guys. Hope you enjoyed it today. It's my 3rd attempt of recording, so yeah, apps crashed a few times. So anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in Russia.